Luke Kennard making a big impact for the Lakers offensively. Is he the piece the Lakers need around Luka Donćić? That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes on weekends, even on holidays, and now more than once a day, no matter where you get your podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Apple, maybe you're one of the 37,000 plus subscribers to the Locked On Lakers YouTube channel. No matter how you're doing it, you're part of making the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network anywhere you're going to find. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky, long time covering the Lakers, nearly 20 years with ESPN, with the LA Times, with The Athletic. And the Lakers this season, Andy, have been searching for pieces that seem to make sense around Luka. It is a roster that was built for still really built for an AD LeBron core. They sort of kind of tried to reconfigure it a little bit this summer, but without much opportunity or success. So with that, the Lakers have been kind of searching all season long for guys that you can say like, oh, this is what a Luka Donćić offense needs. And at the trade deadline, trading the expiring contract of Gabe Vincent for another expiring contract with the idea, I'm sure, of clearing the books in the offseason. They acquired Luke Kennard from the Hawks. And I think it is fair to say, Andy, that Kennard has felt like a major upgrade to what the Lakers are doing offensively.
Yeah, off the bench, Luke Kennard averaging a little over 10 points per game, almost 61% from the field. We can talk about it like he's been doing some good work inside the arc as opposed to purely from three, where Luke Kennard is known. But make no mistake, he's actually shooting the ball very well from behind the arc, 48%.
The rare Laker that didn't forget how to shoot when he put on the uniform.
Shut the F up. There are still games to be played. Like, mark this day. If Luke Kennard forgets how to shoot, this is Brian Kamenetsky's fault, not Andy Kamenetsky's fault. Don't tempt the basketball gods who apparently hate Lakers shooters. Like, they clearly love the Lakers, let's be honest. They've had a lot of success, but I guess the way
let's not take it that far.
The basketball gods try to avoid showing too much favoritism is you get a lot of championships. Other than like Glenn Rice, you get no shooters.
Yeah, take that. No 3-point contest winners for you.
Or when you get a guy who can make a three, it's Vlad Radmanovic, and you got to deal with all the other stuff.
But yeah, I think the point you're making though is really important in that Kennard's impact has been, he's obviously a player with tremendous gravity. He's becoming, I think, a chance to become one of 6 players who shoot better than 50% for the year if he keeps it up over the course of the season. But he recognizes that and very confident putting the ball on the floor, driving to the hoop, making that pass over the top of the defense to the opposite corner, all of that stuff. Kennard is very comfortable doing it. And I think that versatility in his offensive game, other than, breaking guys down off the dribble, which there was a moment where he kind of needed to do that on Sunday against the Kings. And you're like, oh, okay, well, Luke doesn't really do that. Other than that, he kind of fills every other function you need offensively.
Well, I mean, this is a major difference between him and Gabe Vincent. Like, putting aside the fact that Luke Kennard is a much better, more established shooter than Gabe Vincent from deep, period. Like,
ever.
Ever been. Right. I mean, this Luke Kennard has been one of the elite outside shooters, but Gabe Vincent was allergic to putting up shots, inside, just barely inside the arc. Like, he never met a layup that he didn't want to pass.
He actually carried an EpiPen for situations like that, just in case he did take one.
Right. And the difference between Kennard and Vincent, just in terms of opportunities that come when you give Kennard the ball. Like he is more of a threat when he actually puts the ball on the floor than Gabe was, because while I wouldn't call either one of them a high-end playmaker or ball mover, Kennard can certainly move the ball, but more importantly, he is at least a threat to put up a shot at the elbows or to take it all the way to the rim and actually look to score, as opposed to Gabe, who the minute he put the ball on the floor to ever venture inside the arc, he was only a threat to give up the ball. And that just makes a major, major difference.
Not only does he move very well off the ball, which is a skill that the Lakers really badly needed, somebody who really runs well, moves well, puts himself in different spots. He is in many ways what the Lakers hoped Dalton Knecht would be. A more athletic version in a lot of ways of Luke Kennard. But Kennard adds that movement factor. He obviously can catch and shoot. There's no setup where he can't shoot the ball, but I think he's just quicker than defenses think. His decision making is so fast and he processes so quickly that you just watch people defend him, especially when he puts the ball on the floor. And it's like, they always seem surprised that he's moving that quick. Maybe it's because he looks like the assistant principal at your kid's middle school, but he's also like a little better of a rebounder than you expect. Like his rebound rate it's higher than LeBron's, his defensive rebound rate. And like,
this just in, Brian says Luke Kennard is a better rebounder
than LeBron, better rebounder than Luka. Yes. No, I'm not saying that. But like you would expect it to be like 2. Like you wouldn't expect it to be better than, significant players on the team, again, because he's Luke Kennard. His assist rate is, right up there with, guys like Austin. And
he had 8 combined assists over the weekend against the Warriors and the Kings. Again, caveat of playing against depleted teams or whatever, but it does reflect a confidence to move the ball and then also to make the right decisions with it.
Right. And so the results have not been perfect. He does get, better teams when the Lakers have played them have picked on him defensively. That is going to be a problem. As we talk about like what he might be able to do going forward and in the playoffs, which we'll do in a minute here. In a vacuum, when you start to think about like what kinds of things did the Lakers need, I would like to think that management knew they were getting all of this stuff, even if maybe fans just thought they were getting a spot up shooter, which by the way is something the Lakers badly needed. So very good move for the Lakers. After the break, let's talk a little bit about what he could do for them going forward. He has built out a larger role as his 10 games in LA have gone on. JJ Redick clearly likes having him on the floor. What happens in the playoffs, Andy, and what happens next year? Is he somebody the Lakers might want to keep around? We'll get to all of it next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by BetterHelp, and March is a time to celebrate women, especially around International Women's Day, and to recognize just how much they carry at work, relationships, families, and just the unseen roles they step into every day. And sometimes men can have blind spots toward this, even with the best intentions with the women in our lives, mothers, sisters, partners, coworkers. And therapy can help people talk through these situations, or just to help create fewer misunderstandings, increase empathy, increase self-awareness, to provide the right support for the well-being of the women in our lives while strengthening our own well-beings in the process. With over 30,000 licensed therapists, more than 6 million people served worldwide, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, and it works. Fill out short questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and if it's not the right fit, switch at any time. Your emotional well-being matters. Find support, feel lighter in therapy. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. That's betterhelp.com/lockedonnba.
Locked on Lakers also brought to you by FanDuel. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night, from early tip-offs to late night West Coast shootouts. There's always action on the board. Now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into bigger, even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want, whether it's rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits your desires for that day. Mixed spreads, totals, player props. Look at the odds. Figure out what you want to do with your teams that you like to support, or just college basketball generally. Go safe, go bold, ride the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game.
And finally, Locked On Lakers is brought to you by Indeed. Workplace chaos, you got deadlines stacking up, the inbox is overflowing, and the one position you still have to fill sitting open. And when the pressure is on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the right people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidates stumble across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute that I'm going to be talking with you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners to this show, you get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs.
Just to kind of reinforce how impactful and high quality he's been since arriving in the 10 games that he's played, his effective field goal percentage is the highest, if I'm reading this right, among any player in the rotation. His true shooting percentage is the same, also the highest of anybody in the rotation. It's not just the basically 50% shooting from three, 49% on catch and shoots, 50 from pull-ups. He's also shooting inside the arc, 50, almost 60% from inside 10 feet. 2-point field goal percentage is 62.5. So like, it doesn't matter where Kennard is shooting, good things are happening when he is part, when he's doing that part of the offense. How it is really helpful to have him on the floor. I think that is clear. It's especially in the playoffs as teams start to make it harder to get clean looks and stuff like that. His movement, his accuracy, his ability to shoot from anywhere will make a difference. The problem is going to be, how do you, particularly in a super switchy defense, avoid the problem of him getting kind of really picked on when you already have AR who can, draw switches, and teams try to get Luka into switches. Not even because Luka, by the way, is that bad in those situations, but it makes him work way harder and drains some of his capacity to go back on the other end. How effective do you think Kennard can be knowing his weaknesses as we get into crunch time and certainly into the first round of the playoffs?
I mean, I think if he's hitting shots, at worst, what ends up happening is you just keep things at neutral. And sometimes that's what you need during bench periods where you're only playing one of LeBron or one of Luka or one of Austin, or maybe just a couple of them and some other lesser scorers. You just have an option out there to, if nothing else, hold serve. If there are floor combinations out there where he can have some support, whether in the form of Marcus or the right setup for LeBron, where the defensive matchup works well for him, or Jackson serving as a back line, or maybe Maxey. Like it's Jake. Jake's offense has been slumping a lot, but if nothing else, Jake is a big body. He can be active defensively. We're talking specifically.
Yeah, I think you can keep him on the floor in those reserves to try. I'm really interested to find, because it's not hard to visualize situations where JJ wants him on the floor late, wants him on the floor with some of those other guys, like trying to take advantage of that skill set. Like, yeah, obviously you're probably, potentially going small in those situations, but
I am guessing for the most part, Rui would have dibs as part of those lineups just because he is switchier, if nothing else, against a wider variety of matchups than Luke. Like you start getting pretty small if you're, even with a small ball look, if you're talking about, because Marcus would almost certainly be out there as part of the closing group. JJ has said, like, there are 3 players who are going to always be closing. So those 3. Marcus is presumably out there as well. That's a pretty small group. I think also Jake is probably ahead of him right now in the pecking order as a closer. How long that lasts, who knows? But
it's just, you understand what I'm getting at, though. Like, how can you, like, does his role, he played 26 minutes, for example, on Sunday, and you can find 26 minutes, and I'm just looking up his game log here as we talk. And he played 27 against the Warriors, 21, 15, 22. So, he's been sort of started in that low 20s, got under 20. Now he's kind of back up into the 26, 27. Like, that's sort of the sweet spot. I just wonder if there will be a time when, what that would look like if you try to use him later in games. We'll see. The other question that I think is really interesting, though, is what this does next year. Like, if Kennard has become somebody that you might consider, allowing his cap hold, for example, to eat into your available space, or something like that, in an effort to try to figure out how to bring him back, because the fit, especially when LeBron is gone and, you need even that little more ball handling and the shooting and all that stuff, the fit is obviously quite good.
I said from the beginning when they brought in Luke Kennard that while he's obviously an expiring contract, and that's something that the Lakers were focusing on with the trade deadline, and, if they were going to bring on somebody where you took on money, it would have to be, I think, a pretty high impact, all-star adjacent or better type player, or like an elite 3-and-D wing, like an OG Anunoby type player. Otherwise, I don't think they were going to take on any long-term money. But that being said, I've always thought from the beginning that Kennard could be an option to re-sign, assuming he fit in, assuming he played well, because if you want to cash in on all of Luka's offensive skill sets, you need shooters.
You need great shooters, and a shooter who can then take the ball, put it on the floor, and continue the offense is particularly. It's an interesting sort of philosophically, whether it's Kennard or someone else. Like, let's he makes 11 million this year, probably make about 11 million next year, whatever it might be. Maybe you can slide him into an exception. Like, there are some ways to get creative about this, but the broad thing for me is, like, you don't want to get so precious with your cap space that you start throwing useful things overboard that you would, like, what would you do with some of that leftover space with those exceptions? You could go out and sign Luke Kennard for $11 million. You'd be like, okay, that's a good signing. That makes sense. That's a good pickup. Like, you're going to have to use some of that money to get players like that, unless you're, you really have an in on, some star that you need the cap space to trade into, or a restricted free agent that you need the space to basically try to overpay, get Peyton Watson away from Denver, or for Walker Kessler away from Utah. You don't want to cut off your nose to spite your face here, just in the interest of having the largest free cap space number that you can possibly come up with. He seems like such a natural fit in a 20-minute role on a Luka team. I wouldn't mind keeping him around. Let us know what you think about Kennard and his impact, whether you would like to use up maybe some of that cap space the Lakers have been holding on to so preciously in the offseason, to keep him around. Locked On Lakers on YouTube, so we can hang out with over 37,000 subscribers to the channel. Do check out the Everydayer Club in the show notes. Find out if it's for you. We'll see everyone next time.